All right, folks, we got the tractor parked on level ground. We got it in neutral, keys out of the ignition, parking brake is on, and we obviously have the loader raised up to this position. Now we have it up in this position for a reason. What we're trying to do is move the lane shark as easy as possible to whatever desired position we want to start cutting. Now this, as I said before, weighs 450 pounds, so by putting it in this position, there's actually very little effort required to rotate it. Now what I try to do is this backer plate here, I try to keep it level so that it's parallel to the ground. And then when we look at the side, you'll notice the LS-4, the lane shark, ends up being straight up and down, allows it to be rotated, manipulated quite easily. Other things you'll notice in terms of safety here, the hydraulic hoses are disconnected. They will remain disconnected throughout this entire process until I'm just about ready to start the tractor up and get cutting. Some other things to take note of. Before I put the LS-4 into this position, I always check the pins on my loader to make sure they're fully engaged into the implement. And I also take note that with the loader arms up like this, there's a danger in here, so I won't be walking in there at all. Down here as well, there's a crushing risk, so I'm going to keep my hands, arms, feet out from underneath of the lane shark, and that way as I'm doing all these procedures, everything's nice and safe. So this first position we'll call the offset position. I'm going to come under here and you'll notice the T-handle pin. So I'm going to take that T-handle pin out and I'm just going to set it up there for now while I remember. And then I'll come over here. Here's a spring-loaded pin. So I'm going to pull that out and then we're going to push on this side of the LS-4. So I'm going to give this a good push here. It's going to rotate under my loader and then I'm going to walk around and I'll accept it on the other side. And now I'm just going to pull this all the way till it's parallel with the front of my tractor like that. I'm going to come to the right side and I'm simply going to pull this all the way so that it's offset from the actual tractor itself. So at this point you'll notice there's this pin here and there's an R clip. So I'm going to take that out. Now this is spring loaded as well. This is going to allow you to position the angle for the offset. You can see there's a variety of different holes in that plate there. And so you'll see we're closest to this one. And so what I'll do, because I'm real close, I'll just push this just a little bit further like that. And you can hear it pop into place. And then we'll just go ahead and put our R-clip back in. Now, final thing we'll do here, there's a place here where that T-handle, that red T-handle pin came out of. Now it was right here. I'm just going to put it back into place so that when we're operating this, I don't forget where I put it. And we can find it again to put it back into the position we had it in. So there we have it. That is the offset position. This, as I said, allows you to make an offset of various angles. And that's all controlled by where you have this pin on this plate up here. All right, just to show you all the different offset positions here, I'm going to take that R pin out again, pull the spring-loaded pin downwards, and then that will allow me to make some more adjustments here. Here, there, so now we're into place. All right, I'm going to pull this spring-loaded pin down one more time, and then we'll move the offset to the last position it can go in. There it is. All right, and then back I go to the back plate here. Our clip goes back on. And if I was ready to go, I'd get back in the tractor, start it, lower the lane shark down to the ground, and then I could hook up the hydraulics and get to work. Now this might be appropriate for you if you have like a bank, you know, a steep ditch you're trying to cut the grass on or cut the debris on. You can imagine that's a pretty significant offset end angle, and so that would work real well for that. Now let's go the other way and we'll take the offset back this way. Now at this point, I'm just going to rotate this and pull. And we'll come back up here. And if you were to take this pin out, it'll just pop into the next hole. Or you can leave it out. Leave the pin out, that is. Hold it in place with the R-clip. Go back to wherever it is you want to go. Maybe it's up here. And once you're close here, I'm just going to pull that R-clip out again. And we'll push it into place. There it is. Our clip goes back and you're good to go. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different positions that you can angle the offset at. And let's just have a look at it. This might be good for people who have an embankment. You can't drive on it. And so what you do is you set the cutter so it's at this angle. You can drive along the flat part. The cutter goes along with the offset and cuts the debris up on that hill. Don't forget to take out your T-handle. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of a push here, and that will allow it to swing around. There we go. Put the T-handle back in. So far all you've seen is offsetting of the blade so that it's outside the track of the tractor. What we're going to do now is we're going to do something similar, but this time it's going to be a vertical position. So this might be effective for me, especially today when I'm going to be driving along a trail. I want the blade facing vertically so that I can cut the edges of the overhanging branches. So first things first, I'm back to the red handled T over here. We'll take that out. Then over here, the spring-loaded handle will pull. And at the same time, I'm just going to pull on the LS-4 just to get it unhooked. And then I'm going to give it a good push so that it swings around to the other side of the tractor. Grab this edge here and it rotates around. It'll stay right there. Now, just before I go ahead and connect this bar to form a right angle, you'll notice I'm going to be using the same pin that connects into this this plate here at the back, the mounting plate. And so I'll pull the arc clip out. As I said before, that's spring loaded. And then if we look down here, I just need to push it a little so the pin lines up. There we go. And then the arc clip goes back. Now over on this side, you'll notice this black bar. This is called the kickstand, and then there's 2 pins on either end. We're going to take this pin out completely, and then we're going to unhook the bottom part of this pin, and we'll rotate the kickstand around, and it's going to go and line up with this hole. Now if it doesn't line up, that just means you need to push this just a little bit until it does line up. We'll put this pin back here, and then we'll come back and make sure to remember to clip this pin. Now you'll notice there's a series of holes. There's 20 of them here, so that allows you to adjust the angle that this is when it's in the vertical position. So if you can imagine driving down a trail, that's going to dictate whether the cutter is leaning over this way or leaning over this way towards the center line of your tractor. Those holes will allow for that. Now, just so you don't get mixed up, Lane Shark put this little notch here. So that shows you if you want a perfect right angle, 90-degree angle here, put your pin and that kickstand at that location. Now let's have a look at the range of motion with the kickstand. And so first and foremost, one thing to keep in mind, if you can see the blade from inside your tractor cab, you are in the wrong position. You don't want to have that blade visible from the cab. That means you could be susceptible to debris in that coming up towards your cab. So just keep that in mind. Now, as I said, you have some adjustability here. Depending on your application, everyone will have different needs and wants. And so this might be an application for you. Maybe it's not for me. But that would be something you could tackle right there. Obviously, this will be vertical. And so this will be pointed out in this direction. And you could continue on your way as you see fit. All right, let's put it back to the right angle where we were. This will be the position that I use this in today.